Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Tiabu, and I am recording this for the second time. The first time it came out all like super fuzzy. I had to unplug my audio interface and plug it back in. So poof, 30 minutes of recording. I'm gonna try to make it faster this time because I ended up rambling a bunch the first time. Maybe I'll have a better idea of where I'm going this time. Announcement-y things, sort of. First of all, it's Thursday and Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam is done. It's at least done on the Patreon. It'll take a couple of weeks for everything to be totally posted on the YouTubes, and in that time, I am planning and plotting what to do next. I don't know what to do next in the Thursday slot. I want to keep it oldies but goldies. There's definitely some people who want to see more Gundam. There are definitely some people who don't want to see more Gundam, and I'd like to throw out a poll and get at least the lay of the land and some understanding. Now that we're a couple more series deep into Gundam, will that sate the appetites of all the Gundam fans or just make them hungrier for more Gundam? I don't know. I'd like to get some understanding of that and give people an opportunity, if they'd like to vote to get us off the Gundam train to something else if they feel like that's necessary. I'm okay with that. We'll figure it out. Certainly, old shows are going to be the Thursday Nom de Guerre. Is that the name of the game? I don't know. They're going to be the name. No, Nom de Guerre is. Wait, what is that? Is that pen name? When someone engages in combat or some other activity or enterprise with the same root as guerrilla, it's war name. Huh? I didn't know that. Today I learned. How did that even come up? I don't know. Oh, that'll be the name of the game for Thursdays. For today, I'm not recording anything new except this video. I am, however, I've got a backlog of a bunch of treasure hunt videos from 2.5 months ago that I never posted. Sorry. I did the treasure hunt thing to like shake things up and change the schedule and get myself watching different anime than I was watching, and to get myself excited about something and doing something and doing more than nothing. And it was as I was coming out of a pretty bad state, physically, psychologically, mentally, somewhat related to substances, and totally self-imposed, and also just injured. Really sucky period of time, and made some mistakes with the channel and with the business ideas and with general principles, and pushed too far in the right direction in a way that was harmful, and did all sorts of things that I talked about in the sorry video that was a while ago. But coming out of that, I wanted to shake things up, and I wanted to get passionate about anime again, and I wanted to immerse myself in the industry, and I wanted to have something to do that felt like I could do it. And so Treasure Hunt was that. And it did it. It was very successful, actually. It was so successful that I stopped doing Treasure Hunt and started focusing on what I've been focused on for the last 2 months, almost, which is being very consistent. It's like a month and a half, I think, maybe a month and 3 weeks, being very consistent. Every weekday for that period of time, I've uploaded a video. I've recorded and uploaded a video. They've been shorter videos. I haven't been doing as many like multi-episodes together. I haven't been doing as many double drops or special things. Haven't been doing almost anything outside of that schedule, or fun things or extraneous things. I've just been consistent. And it's been great. It's been great. It feels like digging out of a pit, and it feels like moving in the right direction. And at some point, it'll open up. Maybe as I speak about it and communicate about it, it'll open up, and I'll feel like I have the freedom and ability and consistency and stability internally and externally and in my world and in my space and in my organization and all of that stuff in order to do more. But for now, I'm focused on just checking off the boxes and doing the basics, and getting those basics accomplished has been huge. It's been immensely world altering compared to just letting chaos take over. So good. Good. But in the process of being focused on that and focused on getting that done and then resting has been most of my existence, and like stretching and working out and fixing the physical stuff and reading and trying to retrain myself to not spiral out into chaos so quickly, and to build up some order and some structure and some both internally and externally. Organize my space, organize myself, take notes, perform certain tasks at certain times, figure out my sleep schedule, all of these basic things. The extraneous stuff or the secondary stuff or the extra stuff has fallen by the wayside. And so I've got a bunch of treasure hunt videos stacked up, and I'm going to post them. That's the primary reason that I'm making this video right now, is to explain the reason that there are 10 videos about to drop into your subscriber feed. Sorry. And also to run through them quickly over the next couple of minutes, one by one, in order to give you the lay of the land, and that way you know if there are any of these videos that you actually want to watch specifically. So let's go through those quickly, and then I'll wrap up by waxing philosophical a little bit about where we're at and where we might be going and what we're here for. What's the point of this whole thing anyway? Which is a question that I think deserves to be continuously addressed, and I think we should talk about. So, what's coming at you in the feed are 10 treasure hunted shows from a couple of months ago. First, Tomo-chan wa Ononoko. This was a fun comedy. It's not, I don't think it's a great comedy, but it is fun. Definitely got some good gags, likable characters, a reasonable manga adaptation. Not the prettiest looking thing in the world. Fine. Just fine. Revenger. This is again Urabuchi, so you can imagine that there will be blood. I think the character designs suck and feel anachronistic and don't fit the world. It's also super, edgy in a way that feels like it misses its own mark, and it tries to be simultaneously like a cool period piece and also modern and stuff, and that's already been done way better and way more interestingly in a show that I highly recommend you check out, Samurai Champloo, which is actually really cool and uses its anachronism to great effect instead of just having weird shit and alchemist characters in the midst of Japan in the it's weird. I didn't like it. It was boring samurai stuff, which is kind of hard to do, but it is possible. The Iceblade Sorcerer shall rule the world. It's garbage. It's hot garbo. I highly recommend that you watch the first episode because it will refresh your love of good anime. This show feels like it's from 2004. Yeah, about 2004. Very classically stoic Kirito protagonist sort of character. Harem in the works already from episode 1 onward. Really dumb interactions between characters. Sort of feels like it does all the tropes and has no intent to subvert them at all. Which can be nice that it's so straightforward, but it's not like it's doing it because it wants to be really good at doing it. It's just doing it because it's all it can manage. Barely struggles through to become a passable show. Probably isn't a passable show. Does have one of the funniest intros that I've ever seen. I won't spoil it for you. I recommend watching the first 3 minutes of the show just to figure out where it's at, because it might blow your mind with the whole flashback sequence. Spectacular. Nijion Animation. It's a chibi CG show that I think is based on an idol group. It's one of the AKB 00 69 420 Blazits. Something like that. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. It's pretty interesting that they're doing these CG shows. It really broadens the ability for people to create anime easily, but it's not the same. So, meh. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Man, I have to do this again because I already recorded this video, but oh my goodness gracious. I cannot explain to you how fucking weird and kinky I found this show. It's super strange. Maybe it's just because I don't keep up with the landscape of Fujoshi focused stuff. But damn, this is those paperback romance novels with the dude on the cover with this shirt blowing in the breeze and he's like a pirate or something, and there's a lady and her bodice is sort of open and we're in sexy fantasy world. This is like that, except fucking weird. 3 times in episode 1, the main boy character Kabe Don's the main girl character. 3 times. 3 separate occurrences. in one episode. And they're not spread out over a large period of time in world or in story. It's just most of their interactions take place in the form of a kabe don, which is him leaning over her, hand on wall. There's, I think, one sequence where he does it like twice in rapid succession, which is very odd. The thing that I'll say is there is a sequence late in the episode. Oh yeah, so slavery is a thing. Just saying. Fairies are a thing. Just saying. Slavery of fairies, normal thing. Pretty weird. Anyway, power dynamics in play are the strangest thing that I've ever seen. There's a sequence where she, demure, normal, attractive main character, female lead sort of character, brown hair, normal shoujo main lead character, would be a frumpy office lady who's actually really pretty in most modern settings, but in this case she's a pretty princess or whatever. She owns him. He kabedons her, imposes his physical force upon her in order to order her to command him to go fight somebody, so that he can go fight somebody. So because of the power dynamic in play, she doesn't want to order him to do it, so he like kabedons her in order to intimidate her into ordering him to go do a thing. You can just tell that things are going to get complicated and weird. Like, the layers of where the dom sub in this relationship lie end up being very strange. Because he's the dom, but she's his owner. Also, slavery. Did I mention that there's slavery here? And it's not well addressed or interestingly addressed, I don't think. Ugh, weird show. Would recommend. I'd actually really love to hear people's thoughts about it. This is the hard part, because it's such a weird, broken thing that it makes me extremely curious and interested. And so I'd love to hear people's thoughts about it, but nobody's going to watch it because it's weird as shit and nobody cares. So, darn, that makes me a little bit sad. Not that sad. I could have lived my whole life without ever having experienced any of Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, and I might be better off for it, but now I've experienced it, and I must understand. No, it's fine. Buddy Daddies. I have the apparently rare experience of not having seen Spy X Family and then seeing Buddy Daddies, so the common complaint about Buddy Daddies, which is, this is just Spy X Family, doesn't apply to me. I watched it, and I thought it was super cute. I think the little girl character is very head-pattable. I think the main guys have a very interesting dynamic, and I think that the level of violence that's present in the show is straight up shocking. Fucking amazing. Really, really nailed its first episode. Might fall apart later, but really, really amazing. Ars no Kyoju, giant beasts of Ars. Arse. Boy. Hey, if you're a fan of Teabu Watches the Thing and, like, the symbols and the math starts flying and the ideas are flowing and maybe it's not actually based in what's going on in the show, but the ideas are pretty interesting and get pretty deep into it and speculative and curious and stuff, then this one's for you. I don't know if the show actually deserves it. It does seem to fall downhill pretty rapidly, but it is an interesting anime original that I think is actually trying to do a story. And even if it's not succeeding in it, I think the trying is much more interesting than a lot of the shows that we watch that just try to do the same thing as everybody else so that you can make a money. Because telling a story, far more interesting than making a money. I don't need to read or watch the same isekai again. I just don't need to. Or the same harem school trash again. I just don't need to. Even if there are things in those stories that can be compelling or interesting. A story that tries to do something new, tries to do some world building, tries to create a setting, tries to create unique characters and a magic system and all that stuff. Gotta give it some props on that front alone. And then there's a lot to explore in this particular iteration. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Will it fall apart later? Almost certainly. Did I enjoy the 2 episodes that I watched and have a good time analyzing it, maybe overanalyzing it? Yes. Will you have fun if you watch these videos? I don't know, only if you like that kind of stuff. But if you do like that kind of stuff, this is peak that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. Chillin' in my 30s after getting fired from the Demon King's army. I enjoyed this episode of a show, but not, I think, for the reasons that I was supposed to. I found the main character's sex attitude very weird, and the quantity of taters in the episode was abundant. There are big titties, and the main character stares at them the whole time and makes some pivotal life decisions around them, but is like totally unaware that he's doing so, and it's very weird. I would not recommend, but check it out if you want to. Benria Saito-san, I thought it was amazing. I loved it. The little vignettes are super cute and remind me of Isekai Shokudo, another vignette fantasy isekai story. This one is a lot of dungeon delving and handyman stuff, and the characters are very cute, and I like them a lot. Immediately very compelling to me, and super enjoyable. Bada bam. Reincarnation of the Strongest Exorcist in Another World. This is like Mushoku Tensei if it was bad. There we go. I did it. It's a really boring isekai format. It doesn't do anything that makes it stand out to me very much, and it doesn't look very good, and I hate it more after going back and looking through it in order to grab the thumbnail for today. It's boring and lame, and it leans really heavily on a bunch of mediocre tropes that aren't good in the first place, and then does them pretty poorly. Gross. And finally, Unite Up. This is boys dancing. I thought it was really good. I really liked it. It's really cute. They did the character development of the main character exceptionally well. They didn't try to over-introduce a whole bunch of characters. They established some really solid dynamics, familial dynamics and best friendship dynamics and stuff, and did so in a way that made it a legitimately interesting little narrative that's been built there. Am I gonna watch more of it? Hell no. Nope. But if you like dancing boys, boy, do I have a show for you. Unite Up was pretty good and pretty cute. The animation looks very solid. The lighting and shot composition and stuff is quite artsy, and has a good flow to it. I think this is a superbly watchable show that you might just enjoy. And we'll leave it there. Those are the shows that are coming at you in the thing. Hopefully that helps you so that you don't have to feel like overwhelmed by the number of shows that I'm about to drop on your head or into your subscriber feed. There you go. And that's that. So I'm going to iron that out and get those all uploaded and posted, and that way they'll be off the backlog and will be sort of a little bit clean slated to move forward. Consistency is the name of the game moving forward for right now. Again, that might expand out. Maybe not again. I might not have said this yet. That might expand out once I get more confident in the consistency and my schedule feels manageable and I don't feel like I'm struggling just to make the basics happen. Maybe I'll branch more out and do more exciting things and more extra stuff. But for now, my focus is and has been on getting the episodes out on the weekdays. Like, that's it. And it sounds so silly. It's like, wow, this has been a real struggle for me. It sounds so silly because there are people who have real fucking struggles, and this isn't that. And it doesn't compare. But man, it's been a real struggle for me. It's been a real struggle for me to pull it back together and to generate and focus on the reasons why and the purpose and the point and the faith and like trust that 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 there's something worthwhile in consistency and in doing the thing even if you don't want to, and sort of trusting the program that's set out that I've set out for myself. And it's been a real struggle. It's been tough. We had a distinct decline toward the end of last year, and there are all sorts of reasons for that. I take a huge share of the blame for that directly, both in terms of pushing myself too hard in the gym and injuring myself, and in terms of pushing myself too hard with substances, and just psychologically going a little bit too far in a lot of ways. And I made the sorry video a couple of months ago to talk that through and to explore that. And since then, I've been really focused on this consistency, on just getting the basics done every day, no matter what, and drawing every day. I haven't done a new drawing for today. This is from yesterday. This is for JoJo's, but I've got a huge folder now of drawings. Well over a month of them. I've been drawing every day, draw on weekends too, and it's awesome. And my ability to express myself is improving, and it's a consistent thing that I look forward to in the day in an interesting way, and it's like magic. It's like magic, and it makes me want to keep going and to keep drawing, and it's and maybe to try to draw a story, draw a manga, draw a shitty comic book, something like that. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but I'm going to stay consistent with it and learn it with the faith, the belief that it might become something valuable to me, might become something useful, just because I'm compelled by it, I'm drawn to it. And so there's something there. And I think a lot of what I've been trying to do over the last couple of months is take my own advice. Really. Because I spent a few years giving advice, extracting information and ideas and hopefully truths from media, from stories, from art, from creatives. And then I found myself once more in a place of darkness and difficulty and chaos and struggle. And so a lot of what I've had to do is to take that advice that I've got floating around in my brain or in my past and apply it to myself. It's a hard thing to do. Partly because you realize in so many ways that you're a hypocrite, right? Like that, shit, I don't actually follow my own advice that often. So it's a process of reconciliation with one's ideals. Where's the reality? Where's the ideal? How can we make these things match up? And a lot of it ends up being work because you got to change the reality element. The ideal stays where it is, unless you discard it. But that's getting off track. But applying my own advice, generating consistency, focusing on the basics. And one piece of advice that I've really believed in and am now applying really hard, again, in a different way, is that if there's something that compels you, that seems like self-evidently worthwhile, like you're not sure, I don't know how I'm going to turn this into a business or like a life's work or a career or any of those things that rational people care about, right? I don't know how any of that's going to happen. But man, I really like drawing stuff. So I'm going to draw stuff, and I have some faith that that will somehow come to bear. Somehow be useful to me. Somehow be interesting. Like, self-evidently useful or valuable to do, but it doesn't produce the, like, trappings of value. I don't need it to. That doesn't matter. That's not an argument against doing it. I have belief in my own inclination and in my own curiosity in order to pursue that thing regardless, and to not use the swath of excuses that prevent us all from doing the things that we actually find compelling and interesting. And instead to just work it into my schedule and make it a part of my being, and now it's a part of my being. I draw every day. I'm a person who draws every day. Do I draw well? I don't care. But I draw every day. And likewise, I'm a YouTuber. I make a YouTube video every weekday. If I didn't, I wouldn't be. You know what I mean? To do what you believe in, that's part of the thing to apply. And so consistency is something that I think I believe in. Now I'm doing it. And I think it's working. And I think it's moving us in the right direction. And I think other people are feeling that too. I don't know. There's a very varied set of perspectives on the current state of the channel. Currently, we've got about 100 more paying patrons than we did a couple of months ago. Part of that is because they're paying in the $1 slot, the committee slot, instead of the $5 slot, or the $5 tier. And that's okay with me. I'd rather have more people more involved in the process and interested in voting in polls and talking about these shows and communicating in the Discord and commenting on stuff when it comes out and being interested and part of a community as we connect over this media that so many of us find so compelling and that seems to bridge gaps between us, even those of us who aren't very social or have some feeling of restriction. There's this magic in this art that allows us to connect despite those things. And I think that's really valuable, and I'd like to reach as many of those people as possible. So more patrons at a lower monetary level is like the most worthwhile trade in the entire world to me. I'd rather have that 1,000 times over. And maybe we'll see. Maybe we can explode. You know, if I can manage things right and hit the consistency in a way that the algorithm approves of, and produce content that the individuals that you people connect to and can vibe with, and feel like there's something here that's more than nothing and isn't a waste of your time and is like of value and is multi-layered value, where there's value in the content that we watch, and there's value in the information that we discuss about it, and there's value in the way that we watch it, and there's value in the fact that we watch it together, and there's value in the communication and the experience that we share as we do so. If all those layers of value can line up, then the videos become self-evidently useful and interesting and valuable. And I think that if the videos are good, the people will come. I really think so. And I've always tried to focus in that direction. I'd like to continue doing so. If the videos are good, the people will come. So consistency and quality if we can get it. But consistency first, because you can't have a good video if you don't upload any videos. And that's for sure. That's for sure. So can't let perfection be the enemy of the good. Have to upload something and then make it as good as it can be and try as hard as you can. That's what I've been doing, and it's been working. I think. Some people might disagree, and I'd like to hear those disagreements. I read them, and they do come in the comments, and I read the others too. But I think it's moving in the right direction. I think it's good. I think we're going that way. We have to. Because staying still is going down. Moving forward is moving up. So forward and onward. Like a true Shonen Determinator protagonist, forward and onward. Part of the point was to go too far and to break and to go over the edge and to drop into the depths of the pit. If you watch through the last few episodes of Cyberpunk Edge Runners and the last few episodes of Mushoku Tensei, you can see that occur. You can see me doing that. You can see me pushing myself too far and talking about it and wishing that maybe I can destroy myself and then rebuild myself and show that. Maybe I can be reborn in some real sense. And it's such a stupid thing to do. It's such a stupid thing to do. Would not recommend. Would not recommend. But here we are a couple months into rebuilding. We've bounced off of as far down as we're gonna go. The number of patrons is up. The number of viewers on videos is up as far as I'm concerned. The quality of the videos is up. The consistency of the videos is up. The world's our oyster. I think we move only in good directions here. I'm really looking forward to this summer and this year as it passes. And I'll betcha that we're going to be in a very interesting place come 1 year from now. And I'm excited for it. I don't know. People have been indicating like fear in the comments. Sometimes. Like uncertainty over upload scheduling or uncertainty over the way that the videos are coming out. And I don't feel it anymore. It feels like it's like in the wake of what has already passed. It feels to me like everything's coming together, better and better. And I don't want to jinx it, so knock on wood a little bit, but it really feels like everything is coming together. And like the purpose of the channel, the reason for doing this has become once again clear to me. And a little bit. It's always hazy. It's always a thing that I'm reaching toward and I'm always curious about and I'm always looking at from different perspectives. But that multi-layered value of connecting with people in a world that feels so devoid of connection, when we have the most powerful tools ever to go anywhere and to connect with each other and to communicate and to form communities across time and space, it feels to me like we're more divided than ever, individually isolated, culturally separated. And it's an unexpected result. It's not what I would expect. It's not what the theorists who dreamt up a connected world expected or wanted, I think. And it's very scary in a lot of ways to be so connected to everything, so tuned in all across the world, and yet so isolated and alone. And I think everything's been moving in that sort of pod people separated from each other kind of direction, and it's really hard to fight back against it. And I think it's a major contributing factor to the social and psychological experience of being human in the 21st century that is so universally miserable seeming. I think a lot of it has to do with our isolation and this feeling like there's this whole world out there and you know it, and you're nowhere near it. You're just stuck in a room somewhere or in a tiny shack somewhere or in a tiny apartment somewhere. And you've got all these connections via technology and work via technology, and you don't move enough and you don't talk to enough people and you don't feel like you're part of a community, and it's all just bleh. No wonder we're depressed and self-medicating and distraught and anxious and have trouble communicating and generate all this anxiety around the thing that we don't end up doing, and then we avoid doing it, and then we, avoid doing it more because we generate more anxiety around not doing it. And I want to connect to those people. I've been those people. I am still those people. Doing a lot better in some ways, but I'm still a mess in a lot of ways. And there's no beating around that bush, I'm a young man who's not getting any younger, and I'm still just struggling to figure out myself and my identity and my place in the world and what's worthwhile and what's worth ascribing value to and where the morality lies and how far you should go and you know do you when do you take for yourself and when do you put your own gas mask on before everybody else's and when do you reach out and help others and when can you without sacrificing yourself and those are real struggles that are, well, a lot of people share them. They're not as unique as a lot of us like to think that they are. And so I want to talk about them openly. And one of the things that anime does so often is evoke that. It produces this sharing and this communication that leads to a real feeling of community, even though we're separate from each other. And it ends up being, hopefully, a little less threatening to those people who could use a stepping stone between zero communication with others and full socializing. Somewhere in the middle is having a parasocial relationship with some dude who lives in California who's recording videos as he watches anime and squeeze about the cuteness and talks in way too much depth about the underlying, I don't know, philosophy and psychology and morals and narrative and storytelling and all that stuff. And art and style and the way it makes me feel and the way it makes me think others feel. It's such a cool and endlessly curiosity-inducing medium. It makes me constantly excited, and it shows me new things all the time. And so very often, the things that it shows me click and give me tools that I can really grab and pick up and use in my daily life. Ways of thinking and ways of formulating thoughts and ways of speaking and communicating and experiencing that genuinely change my experience of the world. And in a lot of ways do so better, make it better. Or that demonstrate perspectives to me that I didn't understand before. Or maybe demonstrate perspectives to me that I had and couldn't recognize or put a name to or thought were abnormal. I can see that there are other people who have similar feelings, and that makes me feel a little less alone. And so I think doing the same, sharing that experience of experiencing, might make other people feel a little less alone. And I think we could all do with feeling a little less alone. So, if there's a point, that's it, isn't it? To enjoy the anime, yes. To analyze it and extract value from it, yes. But at core, to share the experience of experience. To feel a little bit less alone. To do something together with people who I've never even met. And to, as someone who's not the most social person, to produce something that's of social value for other people who are struggling with similar things. So focusing on that, holding on to that as a point, as like a reason for doing, has been really crucial to me these last weeks. It's been really good. And I look forward to seeing where the road takes us. I think it's going to be all up, man. I think it's going to be all up. All good from here. It'll fluctuate up and down, but I'm optimistic. We're in this together in some real sense. We're going that way because I said so. Because down is bad and staying in the same place just means sinking. So up we go. thank you so much for watching this weird ramble rant. I hope you enjoy the treasure hunt videos from a couple months ago. I hope you're enjoying the consistency of videos on the channel. It comes with trade-offs, but I hope it's good. Thank you to all my patrons for your support. It's incredible, and I look forward to adding more to your ranks. More patrons, more subscribers. I'd like to aim for some bigger goals soon. I'd like to hit like 50,000 subscribers. Maybe this year would be a good goal. Start that subscriber count churning again. Move in the direction of building this thing a little bit more and building this fire up. And part of that comes from that consistency, but also from the quality of the videos. And I think maybe from some strategy. I'm not sure. I'm always reluctant to do the strategy thing. Like, choose shows strategically in order to get viewership and stuff. It's not what I'm after. I'm after intrigue. I'm after curiosity, but there's a reasonable balance that has to be struck. In any case, I'd like to aim for the moon. I'd like 2,000 patrons instead of 1,000 patrons. We've got like 1,070 patrons right now. Let's aim for 2,000 in the next couple of years. And we've got 32,000 subscribers, and we've been hovering right around 30,000 for a while. It's been going up a couple hundred every month. I'd like it to be going up 1,000 every month. I'd like to be aiming toward 50,000 subscribers. I'm just saying those things out loud. Might change my mind about whether I want to go in that direction, but I'm going to say those things out loud in order to put them out there into the world and see if I can try to follow up. See if I can try to follow through and make some cool stuff happen. Make this channel as good as it can be. Put the ego aside. With humility and without pretension, evaluate and talk about and communicate my love for this thing that I love in a way that makes us all feel a little bit less alone. That's my goal. If I can grow, and if I can have stability in my life because of it, as a result of it, then that's an utter win. And that's the direction that I'd like to go. So I'm going to try to shape the world around me in that direction, and we'll see. But to those of you who are along for the ride, buckle up. Thank you so much. And let's go. Peace.